Hi and welcome to this long overdue follow-up to the casual intercept video. The idea back then was making less intuitive concepts applicable by anyone with the minimum amount of effort required. So no RTFM this time. We now close the circle by showing how the F-14 can take advantage of its fancy avionics to perform a stern conversion turn. Note that this procedure can be performed radarless by using information from either link 4A or link 4C. Let's start by creating a simple mission. Our Tomcat is flying somewhere at a certain altitude, a contact is flying somewhere else at the same altitude, and this last point is not a requisite, but it makes my life easier as I'm flying on my own. The plan is simple: maneuver to place the contact in a certain position, about 40 degrees from the nose at a range of about 10 nautical miles, then turn to the reciprocal of the contact, and finally start the turn. You can use trackwise scan, plus minus 40 degrees, 2 bars to eyeball the angle, and the TID range indications to estimate the distance. Target is flying towards 205 degrees. By using the +2 -2 rule, we get a reciprocal in a second, which is 025 degrees. The target is almost on collision course, which is the same concept we used in the previous video to efficiently reduce the distance to the target, but this time we want it to drift to our left, so we need to change our heading.
You got it.
At about 50 nautical miles, I turned to the reciprocal of the target, so 0 to 5. Closing in to 10 nautical miles, I turned to the target 6. The turn may sound a bit tricky to nail, but it's the typical easy to hard turn. Since we have no radar awareness, I turned on the VSL low, and I usually do that from the backseat. Now that we have a lock, we know the range, and we carry on with our mission, which can be, for example, VID, Fox 1 or Fox 2 from the rear quarter, setting up for an air-to-air refueling, and so on. It's not that difficult, isn't it? TacView is fundamental as usual and offers a great view of the action. Despite the very casual approach, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? Now the issue with so much approximation is that the turn can be a bit off, so look outside and scan for the contact. Each phase of the flight clearly appears in TacView: the maneuver to place the target where we want it, the turn to the reciprocal, and the final conversion turn. The theory behind all this procedure is fascinating. Long story short, the idea is having a certain amount of lateral separation before starting the turn, which is basically the room to do the turn itself. If you want to follow the basic US Navy procedure, this value is equal to 40,000 feet. Since the lateral separation is calculated as the target aspect times range times 100, you can see why I aim to have the contact at 40 degrees at 10 nautical miles. By turning to the reciprocal or zero cut, we capture the lateral separation. Also in this situation, we have that the target aspect is equal to the antenna train angle, or relative bearing, but opposite in sign. Other relations describe the ratio at which the range decreases versus the angles, but this is getting a bit too complex already, so let's get to the final step. The turn to the rear quarter of the target, as long as these parameters are fairly satisfied, will always be pretty much the same, making it very simple after a bit of practice. Amazing the stuff that happens under the hood, and if you want to know more about this topic and other magical tales, please buy my book, it's free.